Hello students, this is Waqar Ahmed, your economics teacher from Cambridge International School, Dasua, and in today's lesson we will continue chapter number 9, excess demand and efficient demand. And as you are aware, we have completed three main topics of this chapter, namely excess demand, deficient demand and fiscal policy to control the situation of excess demand or deficient demand. So before moving further, we should recall the topics covered in the last lesson. They were how to control the situation of excess demand or deficient demand through government expenditure and taxation policy. And as you can see from the table that if there is a situation of excess demand in an economy, then government should decrease its expenditure to decrease its purchase and control the situation of excess demand. Vice versa, if there is a situation of deficient demand, government should increase its expenditure. As far as taxation policy is concerned, in the situation of excess demand, government should increase the rate of tax to decrease the disposable income and adversely or negatively affect the situation of AD. And in situation of deficient demand, government should do the opposite of it. Government should decrease the rate of tax to increase the disposable income, which will positively affect the situation of AD in the economy. So monetary policy generally has two type of instrument. One category is known as quantitative instrument and second category is known as qualitative instrument. This quantitative instrument category has got four instruments: bank rate or repo rate, second is cash reserve ratio or CRR, third is statutory liquidity ratio or SLR. We have, as you are aware, already studied about CRR and SLR during the topic of credit creation by commercial banks. Then the fourth topic is open market operation or OMO. Now these are the four parts of quantitative category. Now in qualitative category we have got four instruments, but in our syllabus we will cover only one, which is margin requirement. Just for your knowledge, other than margin requirement, we have got selective credit control, moral suasion and direct action. We will not be covering those three topics in our syllabus. So here we can say that monetary policy instruments are five, which we will study in today's lesson. First, bank rate or repo rate, I am revising. Second is CRR, third is SLR, fourth is OMO and fifth is margin requirement. So first of all, let us talk about monetary policy. Monetary policy refers to the credit control or how to control money supply in an economy by central bank of that economy. So if we talk about RBI, then as we all know, and I told you in last lesson, that RBI although works under the government, but it is an independent authority or independent organization to which government can just suggest or give suggestions. Government cannot authoritatively or cannot directly ask RBI to do something. This is, you need to keep in mind. Government, or I should say that RBI works under the government but not under the control of the government. So RBI is an independent authority and it takes any action which it seems is fit for the economy of our country. So let us come back to the monetary policy. So basically when RBI changes, means increases or decreases the supply of high powered money in the economy and creates incentives or disincentives for the commercial banks to give or not to give loan to whosoever comes to it for loans, generally investors or firms. So I am just trying to make it simpler. Basically monetary policy is a medium through which RBI can control money supply in an economy or can make money supply attractive or unattractive for borrowers through its different instruments. So what is high powered money? Basically you can see the definition in your on your screen, but I'll make it's a very simple thing. You need not to think that is what is high powered money. Basically whatever currency is printed by RBI is high powered money. Simple. Whatsoever currency or notes or coins are printed or minted by RBI is the total of high powered money in India. Simple. But I am just talk about this definition as well. The total liability of the monetary authority of the country. Monetary authority RBI, liability whatsoever notes and coins it has printed are its monetary liability. So RBI is called the monetary base or high powered money. What are the parts of high powered money? Currency, notes and coins in circulation means when first RBI will print, then they will come into the circulation with the public. And vault cash of commercial banks. What is vault cash of commercial banks? It is that amount of the money which commercial bank has borrowed from RBI, but it is not in the circulation. Simple. Commercial banks has got large operations, they need lakhs and crores of rupees. So generally they borrow from RBI, and all of that borrowing is not at once used completely. Some of it remains with commercial banks, so that is the vault cash of commercial banks. Plus deposits held by the government of India and commercial banks with RBI. This is the second category. Whatsoever is the amount of deposits with government of India, and we have studied in bankers to the government topic of functions of a central bank that the deposits and loans of the government are taken care of by the central bank. So whatsoever is the deposits with government of India, they are held by RBI, plus whatsoever extra money is with commercial banks, just for the sake of security or just for the sake of regulations or rules, they need to keep it with RBI. So what is high powered money? Notes and coins printed by RBI with public, plus extra money borrowed by commercial banks from RBI in the vault cash of commercial banks, plus the money of government plus commercial banks with RBI. All that is high powered money, and this is for your knowledge, means you need not to get confused. Our main point here is monetary policy, and monetary policy means control of credit or control of money supply in an economy. And before moving on to the main point, I would like you to tell one more thing. Basically monetary policy is of two types. First, expansionary means expansion, and second, contractionary means contraction. So expansion of money supply means to increase the supply of money in the economy, and second, contractionary means to contract or reduce the money supply in the economy. Now we are talking about two situations. First is excess demand and second is deficient demand. So if there is excess demand, it is implying that people have already got more cash in their pocket. So at that point of time, RBI will use contractionary monetary policy, means will try to contract the money supply in the economy, and vice versa. If there is excess demand, if there is deficient demand, then RBI will try to expand the money policy, expansionary money policy. So excess demand, RBI will try to restrict or reduce the use of money supply, and deficient demand, RBI will try to expand or increase the use of money supply in the economy. So now I assume that you have got a fair idea that which type of policy should be used by RBI in different type of conditions. So let us talk about the first and the most popular monetary policy instrument by RBI, which is bank rate or repo rate. Generally both are same, we will talk about them later. First, what is bank rate? Bank rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks. Simply, as we go to the bank to borrow, commercial bank charges us interest, which is known as market rate of interest. Similarly, when commercial banks like PNB, HDFC or Punjab and Sindh Bank require money, whom they go to? They go to central bank, RBI, and RBI lends them money but charges some interest. That interest which is charged by RBI from commercial bank is bank rate. So now I think you are clear what bank rate is. Bank rate is the rate at which RBI gives money to commercial banks. Okay. Now what is the difference between bank rate and repo rate? So both are same, but the only difference is that when bank require money for short term, then that is known as repo rate, and when bank require money for their regular use, long term, annual plans, that rate is then the situation is known as bank rate. Both are same, rates are almost same, but you just need to require short term requirement, repo rate, which is basically repurchase rate. So repurchase, we make it short, repo rate, and long term use, bank rate. So how does bank rate is used to control the situations of excess demand or deficient demand? First, let us talk about excess demand. Suppose there is a situation of excess demand in an economy, then what RBI does is RBI increases the bank rate. Now if the rate of interest is increased, then taking loan becomes expensive. So what commercial banks do, they do two things, or the increase in bank rate creates two after effects. First is, now commercial banks borrow less amount from RBI because loans have become expensive, and second thing, if they borrow, then they lend that money to general public at a much higher rate of interest, much higher market rate of interest, which makes it costlier for general public to borrow, and both of these practices discourage the use of money or contracts the money supply in the economy. So excess demand, increase in bank rate, which discourage commercial banks and general public to borrow, and which contracts their demand, and it helps in improving the situation of excess demand. And what about deficient demand? Just the opposite. If there is deficient demand, people are not willing to borrow from commercial banks, and commercial banks are not willing to borrow from central bank, then what RBI does? RBI decreases the bank rate, which makes it attractive to borrow from central bank. And similarly, because commercial banks are getting money at much lower rate of interest, they decrease the market rate of interest, which makes it attractive for a commoner or for a common people to borrow money from commercial bank and then spend that money as consumption expenditure, which increases the excess demand. So I think we have got a fair idea, but I will just repeat. Excess demand, bank rate is increased, which contracts the money supply. Deficient demand, bank rate is decreased, which expands the money supply, and the aim is fulfilled. Now before moving on to CRR, let us talk about reverse repo rate or RRR. Reverse repo rate is the rate at which the RBI borrows money from commercial banks within the country. Clear? Means sometime what happens is that commercial banks receive some amount which is unexpected. Means commercial banks are expecting that one company will repay their loan in 3 months, but because of some conditions whatsoever they are, commercial banks receive their money back within 1 month. Now according to their plan, they have got that money 2 months in advance. So what to do with that money? Whenever they receive this kind of money, and they generally keep receiving some unexpected gains or some unexpected repayment of loan on a regular basis. So what they do, they park or they keep this money with central bank, and the interest which they receive, because now they are depositing money, they are not borrowing money from RBI like bank rate or repo rate. That is why it is reverse repo rate. Means now because they are keeping money with RBI, they will receive interest from RBI. So that interest which they receive, that is known as reverse repo rate. It means just the opposite of repo rate. So it is the rate which RBI gives, means RBI is paying this interest rate. So this is reverse repo rate. So now cash reserve ratio or CRR, it is the minimum percentage of net time and demand deposits of commercial banks which they are required to keep with RBI. Means whatsoever are the total deposits of a commercial banks through different types and different channels, they need to keep a minimum percentage of those deposits with RBI. Now two things. First, this CRR is mandatory, means it is compulsory for every commercial bank to keep this percent of money with RBI. And second, RBI has created this CRR system to create public confidence. Means if RBI has got a reserve, then in case of any emergency, it can help a particular bank from this fund or from this cash reserve ratio fund, and that emergency can easily be solved, and public will have full confidence in the banking system of the economy. Now, how CRR is used to solve the problems of excess demand and deficient demand. First, excess demand. If there is a situation of excess demand, then RBI will increase the CRR. RBI will increase cash reserve ratio, which will decrease the amount of effective cash resources with commercial banks, which will decrease or reduce their credit creating power, and which will lead to reduction in credit availability in the economy, and this will help in improving the situation of excess demand. Now let me simplify it. Suppose a bank has got 100 crore rupees of deposits and CRR is 5%. Then they need to keep just 5 crore rupees with RBI, and they can use 95 crore rupees as cash resources through which they can create credit, and credit availability will be in the economy. But if RBI increases the CRR from 5% to 10%, then their cash resources will decrease, because now they need to keep 10 crore instead of 5 crore with RBI. So their effective cash resources will decrease, means they will have less cash to give as credit to the borrowers. So less cash resources, less credit creating power, less credit availability, and help in improving the situation of excess demand. Now what happens in case of deficient demand? RBI decreases the rate of CRR, which improves the health of cash resources of a commercial bank, and their credit creating power improves, and credit availability in the economy also increases. Now bank have got more cash to give as loan, more people will borrow. By borrowing, their demand will increase, AD will increase, and situation of deficient demand can be improved. Now let us talk about statutory liquidity ratio. Basically, there is just one difference between CRR and this statutory liquidity ratio or SLR. In CRR, the banks are required to keep that certain percentage of deposits with RBI. But in SLR, the banks are required to keep a certain percentage of demand and time deposits with themselves in the form of liquid assets. Means if it is CRR, money will be kept by RBI. If it is SLR, the percentage or that ratio will be kept by that particular bank itself in the form of liquid assets. What are these liquid assets? Liquid assets means that whatever amount is to be kept by bank can keep this in the form of government bonds, foreign government securities, or foreign currency, or it can be deposited with other banks known as intra-bank deposits. Means liquid assets means which can be used at a very short notice or which can be converted into currency at a very short notice. So this is the meaning of liquid asset. So the basic difference, you just need to keep this in mind because both are more or less same. There is just one single difference, and that is CRR percentage or that ratio is kept by RBI. SLR, the topic we are talking about, that minimum percentage of deposits is to be kept by commercial bank with itself. Now, how can we use SLR to improve the situation of excess demand or deficient demand in an economy? The basic methodology or the basic logic is exactly the same which we earlier used in CRR. So, if there is a situation of excess demand in an economy, then SLR is increased by RBI, which leads to decrease or reduction in effective cash resources, which leads to reduction in credit creating power, and which leads to reduction in credit availability in the economy, which helps in improving the situation of excess demand. Vice versa, if there is a situation of deficient demand, then RBI decreases the SLR. When RBI will decrease the SLR, now commercial banks will have more cash resources to give as credit, which increases the credit creating power and credit availability in the economy, which helps in improving the situation of deficient demand. So now let us talk about one of the most widely used and popular instrument by RBI, which is OMO or open market operation. It refers to buying and selling of government securities, popularly known as government bonds, by RBI to and from general public. Means when government or RBI wishes to have money, it can sell government bonds, and when it wish to reduce its debt, it can purchase those bonds from general public. And this process of buying and selling of government bonds by RBI on behalf of government is known as open market operation, and it is the most common method of expanding or contracting the money supply in an economy by RBI. So how does this OMO method is used by RBI? Let us say there is a situation of excess demand in the economy and people have got a lot of money with them, as I have told you many times. So in this situation, what RBI will do is RBI will offer or RBI will sell its or government's bonds to the general public. So that extra liquidity or extra cash with public will go to RBI because they are buying something, buying government bonds, and when you buy something you need to pay. And how this payment is made? This payment is made by checks. All those pupils, banks, institutional investors, high net worth individual or companies, private or government, who have got extra liquidity has got that money in bank. Now they are buying something from RBI. So what they will do? They will make payment through check, and when they will, all of them will make that payment through check, the availability of money with commercial banks will decrease. So when they have, the commercial banks will have less money, they will offer less money as borrowing, and it will help in improving the situation of excess demand. Vice versa, if there is a situation of deficient demand, then means people have got less money, then what RBI will do or RBI does? RBI purchases those bonds back and makes them payment. That payment is made through check. Now the money is back with commercial banks in the respective accounts of all those pupils and firms who have bought that bond from the RBI. So money is back into the system, money is back with commercial banks, the credit creating power, credit availability increases in the system, and AD starts improving. So if there is a situation of excess demand, RBI will sell the bonds. If there is a situation of deficient demand, RBI will purchase the bonds. Now last of the instrument, which is margin requirement. So basically margin requirement is the difference between the security offered for loan and the amount of loan granted by commercial banks. For example, let us say I have got a piece of land whose market value is 10 lakh rupees, but when I go with the papers of that land to the commercial banks, then I need to borrow some money. What commercial bank will do is it will offer me around 6 lakhs or 7 lakhs. So let us say that it offers me 7 lakhs against the property worth 10 lakhs. So what is the difference? That difference is 3 lakhs or 30%. So this 30% is the margin requirement, and this margin requirement is maintained by commercial bank to safeguard themselves against the future fluctuations in the market value of the security offered by the borrower. Because if a property is worth 10 lakh today, then its value may increase, that is the benefit of the bank, but its value may decrease as well. So then commercial bank will be in a negative situation. So to safeguard themselves, to make their position financially sound, there is always a margin requirement. So if there is a situation of excess demand, then RBI will increase the margin requirement, which will result in less cash in the hand of borrower. So less cash will result in less demand, and the situation of AD will improve. Vice versa, if there is a situation of deficient demand, then RBI will decrease the margin requirement. The borrower will have more money against its security, more money will result in more demand, and AD will increase, and the situation of deficient demand will improve. So it is a very simple and very clear idea. If there is a situation of excess demand, means less money should go to the public. So margin requirement is increased, which results in less cash with the borrower, and vice versa. In deficient demand, more cash should go to the public, margin requirement is decreased. So if a person goes to the bank, it will have more amount against its security, and more amount will result in more demand, and AD will increase. So it's recap time once again. Today we talked about monetary policy, which basically is a tool to control money supply in the economy, to balance the situations of excess demand or deficient demand. This monetary policy has got 5 instruments or 5 types or 5 variables through which we can control the situation of excess demand and deficient demand. We talked in detail about all of them. Now it is just kind of a concise table so that you can keep all the changes in your mind, or you can get the idea of monetary policy and its use through a single table. So if there is a situation of excess demand, then bank rate, CRR, SLR and margin requirement will increase, which will decrease the money supply in the economy, and the situation of excess demand will improve. And as far as open market operation is concerned, RBI will sell government bonds. Vice versa, if there is a situation of deficient demand, then bank rate, CRR, SLR and margin requirement will be decreased by RBI to expand the money supply in the economy, which will help in improving the situation of deficient demand. And in case of deficient demand, RBI will purchase government bonds back from the public. So this is a basic idea how these instruments will work in different conditions. So that's it for today, students. Tomorrow we will start a new chapter, chapter number 10, in which we will talk about budget and its purpose, or how does it helps a government in stabilizing the economy. So that will be the topics we will be discussing tomorrow. So stay healthy, stay inside, and bye.